Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the English Speaking Nerds channel. We are absolutely thrilled to see you here today. I'm your host, Maya.
And I'm John. This is the place where we help you speak real, natural English. Not stiff, robotic textbook English, but the warm, flowing language that people actually use when they talk to each other in everyday conversations.
That's exactly right. And if you want to master one of the most common conversation topics in English, talking about your daily routine, please support us by clicking that like button right now and subscribing to English Speaking Nerds. Your support means the world to us and helps us create videos that truly transform your English.
We appreciate each and every one of you watching this. We love seeing your progress in the comments. Now, today, we're diving into something that sounds simple but is actually incredibly powerful. We're talking about how to describe your daily routine in English.
How to talk about your daily routine. This might seem like a basic topic, but trust me, mastering this skill opens so many doors. It's one of the first things people ask when getting to know you. It's essential for job interviews, language exchanges, and making friends. Your routine tells your story.
Exactly. And there's something I call routine vocabulary that everyone needs to master.
Routine vocabulary. Tell everyone what that means.
Routine vocabulary is all the words and phrases specifically used to describe daily activities and time. Instead of just saying, I eat or I go to work, you learn to say, I grab breakfast, I commute to the office, I head to work, I wind down for the evening. Having this vocabulary makes you sound natural and fluent.
Perfect explanation. And these conversations require what I call time fluency.
Time fluency. What does that mean?
Time fluency is your ability to talk about when things happen smoothly and naturally. It's knowing how to say around 7, by 9 o'clock, first thing in the morning, later in the evening, instead of just saying exact times. Native speakers rarely say at exactly 7 a.m. They use approximate, flowing time expressions that sound conversational.
Exactly. And talking about routines follows what I call the sequence principle.
The sequence principle. That sounds important.
The sequence principle is the idea that routines are all about order and flow. When you describe your day, you need to use sequence words like first, then, after that, next, finally, to guide your listener through the story. Without these connectors, your routine sounds choppy and confusing. With them, it flows beautifully.
Great point. And many English learners struggle with what we call the variety trap.
The variety trap. Explain that one.
The variety trap is when you use the same boring verbs over and over when describing your routine. You say, I wake up, I eat, I go to work, I eat, I go home, I sleep. Everything is I do this, I do that. But native speakers use dozens of different verbs and expressions to keep things interesting. Breaking free from this trap makes you sound much more advanced.
So important. And remember that critical mistake we mentioned at the beginning? Here it is. Many learners describe their routine entirely in present simple tense with no variety or personality. They say, I wake up at 7, I eat breakfast, I go to work. It sounds like a robot reading a schedule. Native speakers add time expressions, emotions, details, and variety. Instead of I eat breakfast, they say, I usually grab a quick coffee and some toast around 7:30. That tiny change makes you sound completely natural.
Perfect explanation. Now, let's dive into the actual vocabulary. What are the different parts of a daily routine?
We can break the day into morning routine, afternoon routine, and evening routine. Each part has its own special vocabulary and typical activities. Let's explore them one by one.
Let's start with the morning routine. This is what you do from waking up until you start your main activity of the day, like work or school. What are common morning activities?
For waking up and getting out of bed, we don't just say, I wake up. We can say, I wake up, my alarm goes off, I get up, I roll out of bed, I drag myself out of bed when you're tired, I jump out of bed when you're energetic, I hit snooze when you delay your alarm.
Those are great. Can you give examples in sentences?
Sure. My alarm goes off at 6:30, but honestly, I usually hit snooze once or twice. I drag myself out of bed around 7 because I'm definitely not a morning person. I jump out of bed at 5 a.m. feeling ready to conquer the day. Each expression shows your personality and energy level.
What about morning hygiene and getting ready?
For bathroom and personal care, we say, I brush my teeth, I take a shower or I hop in the shower, I wash my face, I do my skincare routine, I shave, I put on makeup, I do my hair, I blow dry my hair, I get dressed or I throw on some comfortable clothes.
And how do you use these naturally?
You might say, first thing I do is hop in the shower to wake myself up. After my shower, I spend about 10 minutes on my skincare routine. I usually just throw on some comfortable clothes since I work from home. The key is adding little details like first thing or about 10 minutes or since I work from home.
What about breakfast and morning beverages?
For eating and drinking in the morning, we say, I have breakfast, I grab breakfast, I make breakfast, I skip breakfast, I have a cup of coffee, I brew my coffee, I make myself some tea, I grab a quick bite, I have a light breakfast, I have a big breakfast.
Can you give some natural examples?
Absolutely. I usually grab a quick coffee and a banana on my way out. I like to make myself a proper breakfast with eggs and toast on weekends. I'm usually running late, so I just grab a protein bar. I never skip breakfast. It's my favorite meal. Notice how we add reasons or emotions?
What about getting to work or school?
For commuting and travel, I leave the house, I head to work, I commute to the office, I drive to work, I take the bus, train, subway, I walk to work, I bike to school, I work from home, I log on from home.
How do you describe this part naturally?
You could say, I leave the house around 8 and take the subway downtown. I have about a 30-minute commute by car. I'm lucky because I just walk 10 minutes to my office. I work from home, so I just walk to my desk in my pajamas. Adding the time or distance makes it more specific and interesting.
Now let's talk about afternoon routines. What are typical afternoon activities?
The afternoon is usually your main productive time, work, school, or main activities. For work activities, I start work, I get to work, I check my emails, I attend meetings, I work on projects, I have a conference call, I meet with clients, I collaborate with my team, I meet with clients, I collaborate with my team.
What about lunch and breaks?
For midday breaks, I take my lunch break, I have lunch, I grab lunch, I eat at my desk, I go out for lunch, I pack my lunch, I order delivery, I take a coffee break, I step outside for fresh air.
How do these sound in conversation?
I usually take my lunch break around noon and either pack something from home or grab something from the cafe downstairs. I eat at my desk most days because I'm swamped with work. On nice days, I love to go out for lunch and take a walk. See how the details make it vivid?
What about for students or people with different afternoon routines?
For students, I attend classes, I go to lectures, I study in the library, I do assignments, I meet my study group, I do research. For parents, I pick up the kids, I help with homework, I take the kids to activities. For others, I run errands, I do chores, I go to the gym.
Now let's talk about evening routines. What happens after the main part of your day?
The evening is about winding down and personal time. For finishing work, I finish work, I wrap up for the day, I log off, I head home, I clock out, I leave the office.
What about arriving home and transitioning?
For coming home, I get home, I arrive home, I walk through the door, I kick off my shoes, I change into comfortable clothes, I change out of my work clothes.
What about dinner and evening meals?
For evening eating, I make dinner, I cook dinner, I prepare dinner, I order takeout, I have dinner, I eat dinner, my family eats dinner together, I meal prep for tomorrow.
How do you describe this part with personality?
Usually I get home around 6 and immediately change into sweatpants. I love cooking dinner. It helps me de-stress after work. I'm too tired to cook most nights, so I often order takeout. My family has dinner together every evening, which is my favorite part of the day. The emotions and reasons make it personal.
What about evening relaxation and entertainment?
For unwinding, I relax, I unwind, I watch TV, I binge watch shows, I read, I listen to music, I play games, I spend time with family, I call friends, I scroll through social media, I browse the internet.
And before bed?
For nighttime preparation, I get ready for bed, I do my nighttime routine, I brush my teeth, I wash my face, I set my alarm, I check my phone one last time, I wind down, I go to bed, I fall asleep, I hit the hay.
Can you give a complete evening routine example?
Sure. I get home around 7 and change into comfy clothes and make myself some dinner while listening to a podcast. After eating, I usually watch TV for an hour or two to decompress. Around 10, I start my nighttime routine, brush my teeth, wash my face, set my alarm for 6:30. I try to be in bed by 11, but sometimes I end up scrolling through my phone until midnight. Then I finally fall asleep.
That was so natural. I love how you used variety in verbs and added little personal details. Now let's talk about the secret we promised earlier. This is the technique that makes even boring routines sound interesting. What is it?
It's called the detail and emotion technique. Instead of just listing what you do, you add small details about how you feel, why you do it, or what makes it special. You turn "I drink coffee" into "I make myself a strong cup of coffee because I absolutely can't function without it." You transform "I go to work" into "I take the subway to work, which I actually enjoy because it gives me time to read." How does this work exactly? Every activity in your routine can include 3 elements: the action itself, a detail about it, and an emotion or reason. For example, action, I wake up; add detail, I wake up at 6:30; add emotion, I wake up at 6:30, but I'm definitely not a morning person, so it's always a struggle. Suddenly, it's interesting.
Can you give more examples?
Instead of "I exercise," say "I try to squeeze in a 30-minute workout before work because it energizes me for the day." Instead of "I eat lunch," say "I pack my lunch the night before, usually leftovers, because it saves money and is healthier than eating out." Instead of "I go to bed," say "I aim to be in bed by 10:30, but I always end up staying up later than I should scrolling through videos."
These sound so much more natural and engaging. Now let's talk about time expressions. How do native speakers talk about when things happen?
Native speakers rarely use exact times. We use approximate expressions that flow naturally. Instead of "at 7 p.m., we say "around 7, about 7, 7-ish, somewhere around 7.
What about other time expressions?
For morning, first thing in the morning, early in the morning, bright and early, in the morning, mid-morning. For afternoon, in the afternoon, early afternoon, mid-afternoon, late afternoon. For evening, in the evening, early evening, later in the evening, at night, before bed, right before I sleep.
What about describing frequency? How often you do things?
We use frequency adverbs like always, usually, normally, generally, often, sometimes, occasionally, rarely, seldom, never. And frequency phrases like every day, most days, on weekends, on weekdays, once in a while, from time to time.
Can you show how to place these in sentences?
Sure. Frequency adverbs usually go before the main verb. I usually wake up at 7. I always have coffee in the morning. I rarely eat breakfast. But with the verb to be, they go after. I'm usually awake by 6. I'm always tired in the morning.
What about sequence words? How do you connect activities in order?
Great question. We use first, first of all, to start, then, next, after that, afterwards, later, finally, lastly. These guide your listener through your day smoothly.
Can you demonstrate with a complete routine?
Sure. First, I wake up around 7 and check my phone for a few minutes. Then I drag myself out of bed and hop in the shower. After that, I make coffee and have a light breakfast, usually just toast or cereal. Next, I get dressed and gather my things. Finally, I head out the door around 8:15 to catch my bus.
Perfect flow. Now let's talk about weekday versus weekend routines. How do you contrast them?
Great question. We use on weekdays but on weekends during the week however on Saturday and Sunday my weekday routine is, whereas my weekend routine is.
Can you give examples?
On weekdays, I wake up at 6:30 and rush to get ready for work, but on weekends, I sleep in until 9 or 10. During the week, I meal prep and eat healthy, but on weekends, I like to treat myself and order takeout. My weekday evenings are pretty low-key, just dinner and TV, but on Friday and Saturday nights, I usually go out with friends.
What about describing changes to your routine?
You can talk about past routines. I used to, but now before I would, but these days I don't anymore. Or future changes. I'm planning to, I'm trying to, I want to start.
Examples?
Past changes, I used to wake up at 5 a.m. to go to the gym, but now I work out in the evenings instead. I don't eat meat anymore, so my dinner routine has changed a lot. Future changes, I'm trying to wake up earlier and have a more productive morning. I'm planning to start meditating before bed.
Now let's talk about making your routine sound interesting. What are the keys?
First, use varied vocabulary. Don't repeat the same verbs. Second, add details about why, how, or how you feel. Third, include some unique or quirky things about your routine. Fourth, use humor when appropriate. Fifth, be honest. Authenticity is interesting.
Can you give an example of a boring routine made interesting?
Boring version, I wake up at 7, I eat breakfast, I go to work, I come home, I eat dinner, I watch TV, I go to bed. Interesting version, I'm a total night owl, so waking up at 7 is honestly torture for me. I stumble to the kitchen and make myself the strongest coffee possible. I literally can't function without it. Then I have a quick breakfast, usually while scrolling through the news on my phone. I commute to work by subway, which I actually don't mind, because it gives me 30 minutes to read. Work is pretty standard office stuff. Meetings, emails, the usual. After work, I love cooking dinner. It's my creative outlet after being at a computer all day. I usually make something simple but healthy. Then I'm a total couch potato. I'll binge whatever show I'm into at the moment. I try to be in bed by 11, but let's be real, I always end up staying up too late watching just one more episode.
See the difference? The second one has personality, honesty, and details that make you feel like you know the person.
Exactly. Now let's talk about different types of routines people might have.
What about students? How do they describe their routine?
Students might say, I have classes in the morning and afternoon. I attend lectures from 9 to 3. After classes, I usually study in the library for a couple hours. I'm part of a study group that meets Tuesday and Thursday evenings. I work part-time on weekends to pay for expenses. I try to balance studying with my social life.
What about parents with children?
Parents often describe, I wake up early to get the kids ready for school. Mornings are chaotic. I'm making breakfast, packing lunches, and making sure everyone has what they need. I drop the kids off at school before heading to work. After work, I pick them up and take them to their activities, soccer practice, piano lessons, you name it. Evenings are all about homework help, dinner, and bedtime routines. I don't get much me time until after they're asleep.
What about shift workers or people with unusual schedules?
They might say, I work night shifts, so my schedule is basically reversed. I sleep during the day and work from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. I work rotating shifts, so my schedule changes every week. I'm a freelancer, so I don't really have a set routine. Every day is different.
What about remote workers or people who work from home?
Remote workers often say, I love that I don't have to commute. I just roll out of bed and walk to my desk. The hardest part of working from home is separating work time from personal time. I try to stick to a routine even though I'm home. I get dressed and start at 9 just like I would at an office. I take breaks to do laundry or start dinner, which is a nice perk.
Now let's discuss responding to questions about your routine. What are common questions people ask?
People might ask, what's your typical day like? What time do you usually wake up? How do you spend your mornings? What do you do after work? Do you have a morning routine? Are you a morning person or a night owl? How's your work-life balance?
How do you answer these naturally?
For what's your typical day like, give a brief overview with some interesting details. Well, I wake up pretty early, around 6, and go for a run before work. Then it's the usual workday. I'm a teacher, so I'm in the classroom until 3. After work, I usually grade papers or plan lessons. Evenings are for relaxing. I cook dinner and catch up on shows. Pretty simple, but I like the routine.
For, are you a morning person or a night owl? Be honest and add color. Definitely a night owl. I'm practically useless before 9 a.m. I do my best work late at night. Or, I'm a total morning person. I love waking up early when everything is quiet and getting a head start on my day. What about cultural differences in routines?
Routines vary hugely by culture. In some countries, people take long lunch breaks and eat dinner very late. In others, dinner is at 5 p.m. and people go to bed early. Some cultures have siesta time. Some prioritize family meals. When describing your routine, it's perfectly fine to mention cultural aspects. Like, in my culture, we have a big family lunch every Sunday. Or, where I'm from, dinner is typically around 9 or 10 p.m.
What if your routine is very simple or you think it's boring?
Every routine can be interesting with the right approach. Instead of apologizing, my routine is really boring, just describe it with personality. I'm pretty low-key, honestly. I wake up, work, come home, and relax. But I like it that way. I find comfort in routine. Embrace it. Simple doesn't mean boring.
Now, let's talk about routine-related vocabulary for special situations. What about talking about disruptions to your routine?
When something interrupts your routine, my routine got thrown off. I had to adjust my schedule. Today was different because I had to skip my usual workout because of a meeting. My alarm didn't go off, so my whole morning was rushed.
What about ideal routines versus reality?
You can contrast them. Ideally, I'd wake up at 6 and meditate, but in reality, I snooze until 7 and rush out the door. I try to cook healthy dinners, but honestly, I end up ordering pizza more often than I should. I'm working on being more consistent with my evening routine, but some nights I'm just too tired.
What about temporary routines versus permanent ones?
Use different tenses. For temporary, right now I'm waking up earlier because I'm training for a marathon. These days I'm working late because we have a big project. For permanent, I've always been an early riser. I've maintained the same morning routine for years.
What about asking about someone else's routine politely?
Use these questions. What does your typical day look like? How do you structure your day? What's your morning routine like? Do you have any evening rituals? How do you manage your time? These are friendly and show genuine interest.
Now, let me ask you personally, John, what's your actual daily routine like?
I appreciate you asking. Honestly, my routine has evolved a lot. I used to be terrible at mornings. I'd wake up 10 minutes before I had to leave and rush around in a panic. But I realized I was starting every day stressed out, so I changed things. Now I wake up at 6, which was brutal at first, but I've grown to love it. I make coffee, spend about 30 minutes reading or planning my day, and then I exercise. That morning routine has honestly transformed my whole day. I feel more energized and focused. Work varies depending on filming schedules for the channel and other projects. Evenings are for family time and unwinding. I try to disconnect from screens by 9 p.m. and read before bed. It's simple, but it works for me. What about you, Maya?
Thanks for sharing that. My routine is kind of chaotic, to be honest. I'm definitely more of a flexible person than a strict routine person. I wake up naturally around 7 or 8. I don't use an alarm unless I have an early meeting. I love slow mornings with coffee and journaling. Then I dive into work, which varies a lot since I teach, create content, and manage various projects. I don't have a set lunchtime. I just eat when I'm hungry. Evenings are my creative time. That's when I plan videos, write scripts, or work on new ideas. I'm a night owl, so I often stay up until midnight or 1 a.m. It's not the healthiest routine, and I'm working on getting better sleep, but I've accepted that I do my best creative work late at night. I've learned that forcing myself into a routine that doesn't fit my natural rhythm just makes me miserable.
I love that you acknowledge that everyone's routine should fit their personality and natural rhythm. There's no one right routine.
Exactly. And that's an important message for our viewers. Don't feel pressured to have someone else's perfect routine. Find what works for you and be able to describe it authentically in English.
Now we want to hear from you. Tell us in the comments, what's your daily routine like? Do you have a strict schedule or are you more flexible? Are you a morning person or a night owl? What's your favorite part of your day?
We love reading your comments and learning about your lives. This is a wonderful community, and we want to hear from everyone.
And if this video helped you feel more confident talking about your daily routine in English, please give us a thumbs up. It really helps us create more content you love.
Please share this video with anyone learning English who wants to sound more natural when describing their day-to-day life, and subscribe to English Speaking Nerds if you haven't already.
Turn on notifications so you never miss our lessons. We're here every week to help you speak English like a native speaker.
Before we go, let me give you one final pro tip. Practice describing your routine out loud. Don't just think about it, actually say it. Record yourself on your phone. Listen back. Notice where you hesitate or use the same words repeatedly. Then try again with more variety and detail. This active practice is what actually improves your speaking.
That's excellent advice. Speaking practice is so much more effective than just studying.
Until next time, stay nerdy, stay curious, and remember that your daily routine is uniquely yours. Own it, describe it confidently, and use it as an opportunity to connect with people in English.
Thank you all for being part of our amazing community.
Keep learning, keep growing, and keep practicing your English every single day.
We can't wait to read about your routines in the comments.
See you in the next episode.
Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye.